All right, welcome back. The next session here, starting in a couple minutes, is going to be Danny Fladhammer talking about an intro to 3D design. A couple things before we get started. At the next session after this will be the virtual reality in about a half hour, 30 minutes. And at 3 o'clock Central Time, 1 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, we're going to be taking a trip down to the studio. So what we're going to have to do is probably shut off the stream for just a moment, but stay on this page. And when we get fired back up again with the TriCaster in the studio, you'll see another video post come up, and you can click on that and join in with the studio tour down here and kind of see some of the capabilities we have for here on the Missouri campus, and then some of the things we are planning to do on the Arizona campus. So without further ado, we have Danny Fladhammer here, who's sort of Mazdo, sort of ITS, kind of a blend in between. He's a support person for Mazdo and helping the students there, and helps us out as well. And he's got a background in art and design school, and he's going to do a little bit on 3D design for us.
Okay, thank you, Dean. As you heard before, my name is Danny Fladhammer, and we're going to learn the intro of design. So let's get started. So we do see 3D design in almost every day now. We see it usually with modeling, sculptures. We also now see it on our movies, TV show, and so on and so forth. And so, like I said, Pixar kind of leading the way, along with Illumination Entertainment and a few others, which is normal animation, which requires 3D design in all aspects. Nowadays, they're starting to use 3D reconstruction for facial features, full body features, such as some of the recent movies, such as Tron and Fast and Furious 7, when they had to redo Paul Walker's entire face by using his brothers to do the accents. But what they did was they 3D his face and put it onto his brothers. And then in Tron, they did the same by trying to make him look younger. They completely did a full 3D reconstruction of his body. Now, how is 3D used in the medical and dental world? And there's been a lot of interesting and new ways, and it's kind of been around for a while with artificial hearts, lungs, such as bone replacements and skin grafts, and it's getting more and more complex. A great little article here from Popular Science, how 3D printing body parts will revolutionize medicine. Since 2007, the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute of the National Institutes of Health has awarded $600,000 in grants to bioprinting projects. Now, 3D and 3D printing are starting to go hand in hand, as you have to 3D sculpt around an exact body part to insert into a human body. And so, as later on this article, you can look it up, not only although I do show a heart, but they have done lungs, like I said before, kidneys, other bones, and so on. Another neat article that I found is this is the first medical 3D printed skull successfully implanted into a woman. Doctors in the Netherlands report that they have for the first time successfully replaced most of a human skull with a 3D printed plastic one, and likely saved a woman's life in the process. And in order for that skull to be printed, though, it had to be 3D modeled and formed to fit that woman's head perfectly. It wasn't just that, hey, we're going to look on a model, we'll just figure this out. Somebody had to go in, engineer a 3D print or a 3D design first, print it out, and then implanted it. And that was from James Ings from NBC News. So, using these 3D programs, they're pretty complex programs, but luckily nowadays, since the early, from the 90s, they were pretty complex, but now they're starting to get easier, more user-friendly, and they're starting to innovate into trying to get all people of sorts to use these programs. So some of the programs you'll see here, like for instance, these are certain 3D programs that were used to modify a whole hand. Like I said, a person from before, and there's our awesome heart image. Some of the programs that are used on a regular basis are Pixar's Render Man, Blender, AutoCAD, Amabilis, Maya, which has been around for a very long time and is industry standard by a lot of movies, along with 3ds Max, and one that's sort of new but very user-friendly is SketchUp. And what we're going to be going over today is the more intro base, because as you know, 3ds Max, as I said before, and RenderMan and Maya are very complex, where SketchUp kind of helps you create your own 3D world in a very user-friendly format. So I'm just going to switch over to my computer here. Let's get that going. There we go. I already have a pseudo building kind of created. Unfortunately, and I got as medical as I could. Like I said, I'm still an intro on this as well. So I went ahead and started creating a little dental building. So I have a bathroom, chair, a dental chair, chairs, but I'm kind of incomplete and a lot of things are kind of off. So just a quick tutorial we're just going to go over. So you notice I have a little short wall. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to scroll in. I'm going to choose this wall, and you'll notice it gets dotted. I'm not sure if you can see it on your screens, but I selected the gray area, and I can easily, and not knowing much or how high it needs to be, I can actually choose that wall, just click and drag up to match. But I do know one thing, that the adjacent wall is 8 feet. So what I want to do to make sure it hits that 8-foot mark, down on the very bottom, I can easily just type 8 feet. Oop, I did inches, I think. My bad. So let me I'll just actually just level it out. And if I'm not sure, what I can do is by choosing a hand tool, I can get in and I can focus in and get as close as I can. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom out now. Take the rotate tool. Okay, my wall's completely up. Blocks 2 sides, makes 2 walls. But as you can see here, I have 2 windows, and I want my third one to have another window. And so very easily, I'm just going to use the arrow tool to select. You'll notice how it highlights all in blue. And what I'm going to do is choose this little 4 arrow. And this allows me to position this thing, but I don't want to move just this window because, oop, my bad, because I need another one. By just using simple hotkeys, that's not allowing me to do, I can actually create a duplicate window, which it is now not letting me do because it keeps going to the other screen. I'm sorry. Is this? There we go. I don't know what the deal is. So what I did here was actually just a simple copy and paste. No different from if you're in Microsoft Word. This is really annoying. Let me just close this one. Don't save. Okay. And then I can position this window how I want. Or let me see if I can get it to. Let me just hide that window. All right, looks like I'm having difficulties, so I'm actually going to try to move to the chair and see if I can actually do it with the chair. Nope, it's not letting me do it with the chair either. So looks like I'm just going to show you how to adjust, change, and color. So you notice here I got some white walls, and what's really awesome and it's very simple to choose, I have a little paint bucket tool at the very top. I can click on that. Very similar to a lot of the Apple, and if you're on Windows, it's very similar to the paint bucket on like Microsoft Office, PowerPoint, and so on. But I don't have the choice of just Apple colors. I can actually choose all sorts of stuff. So if I want a tiled wall, I can usually just choose a simple tile, or if I want a metal wall, I can choose from different variations of that, and so on. And so what I'm going to do, just for fun, I'm just going to choose a stone wall. Don't know why, but it's interesting. So all I got to do is select the one I want, come over here, and just paint on the wall I want to change, and I can just do it on multiple occasions. And it's just as simple as that. What's really neat about SketchUp is that a lot of people have started getting into this program, and a lot of major brands. And so if you are designing something and you want a specific color or brand, you can actually go to File, 3D Warehouse, and get some models. And you see there's a skull, but you can actually type in all sorts of stuff. So I'm going to go to the home page real quick, or just go back Oh, an error occurred. Let me see something real quick. Let me get on the internet real quick. That might help. 3D warehouse. Oop, file. 3D warehouse. Get models. And so you can see there's a lot of brands that have started to come in here. And you can click on them, see what they have. And you can go through and just choose brands if you want to know exactly. They also have different colors that you can choose from. You can add colors. Such as Sherwin-Williams has their own page just for this. Different colors, you can choose from them and import them into the design very easily and very simple. So, yep, so right now if you notice here on my doorway, it's a little thick. And so, once again, I can just click on it on this wall, go to the adjustment tool, I can shrink it down to what I need it to be. And that's it. It's a very simple, easy to learn 3D program that you can just add and go about. If I want to add something in, very simple, I can go here, get models. I'm going to look up dental chair just for a placement. As you see, they even have full dental mock-ups. So let's see here. I'm going to choose this operating dental chair. Click on download. Load this directly. Yes, I would like to load directly into there. So it's going to load. And I have a chair all preset. Move this to how I want it. Click once, and my chair has been placed. Oop, wrong tool. And I can also, it's how it's highlighted in blue. What I can do now is click on the red and position it to how I need it to position. And if I need more accurate, I can go in, kind of center it the best I can. I can click on 4 points. I can rotate it if need to be. You can also rotate 360 and X, Y, and Z axis. So, and there's all sorts of stuff you can do with this program. It's a very detailed program, but it's also very friendly and easy to use. Some of these ones I'll show you in a second. It'd be a lot of fun. So in the medical world, you can 3D design an entire skull. There's a lot of wireframing that goes in, as you can see, very complex, very detailed. Let me just move around. So whether or not this is to scale, I do not know, but it looks like they have spent a lot of time on this, making this look perfect. I can do different views of it. I can do different angles if I need to. Let me just move that down. And then what's neat from here is I'm sure is you can model around the skull, such as if you need to make a fake skull for a person for implant or part of a skull. All right, another fun one that I saw online, somebody actually did the entire Star Trek Enterprise, which I thought was kind of cool because it just shows that there are no real limitations to this. And this is to scale, I believe, or close to scale. Yep. Down here in the corner, you'll see there's a little guy down there. A little man, and I can't zoom in anymore because of how large this deal is. There we go. So you see there's a little man right in the corner. So yes, there's all sorts of things you can do with just SketchUp. So.
Hey Danny, that is a free program, right?
I'll get to that.
Okay, cool. All right.
So that was SketchUp. SketchUp. It's simple, intro to 3D design, easy to use, CAD related, and free for education. Now what's interesting for free of education after I did some research later on is that a lot of the programs that I mentioned before actually have either free or extremely discount prices for education. So if you get a little bored with SketchUp and you want to move further, there's a lot more. Another interesting fact is that Pixar's new program, or program they've been using, RenderMan, which has not ever been for sale until recent, is actually 100% free for everyone. So you don't have to be in education, business, you can be just your local guy sitting at home, want to learn 3D, you can actually download RenderMan. Another neat thing is SketchUp is also on our lynda.com account. So if you want to learn about SketchUp, even Maya, 3ds Max, all of them are actually on our Lynda account, and there's also downloadable files for free for us. So that way they'll walk you through, teach you how to use it, use a lot more of the functionality than I showed today. So, thank you. And if you have any questions.
So, what's the new one? The Pixar?
The Pixar one is called RenderMan.
Okay.
Yep, RenderMan. And like I said, that is completely free. I do not know if there's anything on Lynda just yet, seeing how they recently, just a few months ago, announced that it was free for everybody to use. At first, I believe RenderMan was just Pixar's. Like, I don't believe they sold it ever. When I worked at Apple, I know we never sold it on the shelves. I don't know about any place else.
Would you say, of the ones you're talking about, is there any one of them that's maybe a little more approachable for the novice person? I mean, where would be a good place to start?
As for entry level?
Yeah, like if I wanted to sit down and learn some 3D program, which would be probably the best starter type?
The best starter type is actually the one I showed, SketchUp, because the lynda.com accounts are great. They approach it as if you've never touched 3D design before. And so they explain all the axes, how to set everything up. It's a very great elementary program to get into 3D design. And then what's nice though, it's not just meant for 3D design. It can go further, as you can see from the starship and the skull. So there, you can go very intro level, just to how I showed with my own little office, to extremely complex.
Yeah, that was,
So.
I've played with it a little bit, and it's great for doing like floor plans and like architectural type things. I wasn't quite sure how much easier it was to go into the more organic shapes with it, but they've got tutorials on.
They have full tutorials. There's one called the free pen tool. And so you can do, there's a lot of what we call hotkeys that you would hold down, and it can do perfect lines, scaled lines, curved lines. So it can get as easy as you want, or it can get as complex as you want. So that's why I really like showing the skull, and I'll show that again, actually. Yeah, as you can notice the skull, I mean, this person went really well in details. I'll zoom way in. Let me get those teeth in there, because it looks like that has the most. They went full on out on those teeth, just free-forming and designing and shaping it to make sure it forms that perfect tooth. Let me see if I can just get the wireframe here. So you can see how complex it really is and how much of the drawing goes into this program, just so you can get nice round layers. Yes?
Have you made a copy of that skull yet? Have you printed it out in 3D?
I have not printed this out in 3D, mainly because I have not done this. This is actually from the 3D warehouse market. I'm sure we can print it out as long as certain ways, but no, it's actually a free skull on the program. So if you download it, like I said, you want to go to File, 3D Warehouse, Get Models. You can do actually just type in skulls, and there's all sorts of stuff on there that you can download. And they have all sorts of the human anatomy, bones, so on. So, yeah, it's a very interesting, very simple, but yet complex program at the same time. So, do we have any questions or anything from the online side? All right, just a note, if you want to go beyond SketchUp, 3ds Max and Maya are the industry standards on a lot of them. They do teach those, such as in Art Institutes, DeVry, and other places. Thank you very much. Take it easy.